Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I am so happy to be back with another video today. Today I am going to go over how I made this card, this Halloween card, with the small die of the month for September. I am going to be starting with my background. I will be hot foiling this spiderweb press plate from Spellbinders. This was released last year, but it's such a good plate if you like Halloween. I have used this on so many cards already. It is beautiful if you use it with a better press, but I wanted to hot foil it today. I'm going to be using the Prism hot foil, which is a holographic silver hot foil from Spellbinders, and I am just making a little sandwich off of the side so I can tape everything together. I don't foil unless everything is taped securely together, so I know that it will not move while it goes through the die cutting machine. So I use the Glimmer system from Spellbinders, and once that's pressed through my die cutting machine, I can peel that away, that beautiful, beautiful holographic foil, and I'll be left with a subtle spider web onto a watercolor cardstock. Then I can spray to my heart's content with the Holtz Distress Spray Stains. I am using Twisted Citron, Mermaid, Lagoon, and some sort of purple to make this Halloween background. Once the color is all on there, I noticed that it wasn't really flowing away from the foil like it's supposed to. So I just sprayed a little bit of water on top of it, and that gets it to flow a little bit more. You can see it right now. The more water I add, the easier it flows away from the hot foil, so it's not covering all of that up. And I'm just going to dab away all of the excess because I'm going to add more color later on. So I don't mind if this comes out a little bit pale. I just wanted to stay away from my beautiful hot foil for now. Once that is dry, I can add some more glitter and glitz with the Distress Spritz product from Holtz. I love these Spritz. They are so beautiful. The mica glimmers so beautifully. And I'm just going to do 2 layers of this because I wanted it to be a little bit darker than it ended up being. So this worked out beautifully in the end. But that's what I love doing with my spray backgrounds. I just build up layers and layers. Even if you're not using the Distress Oxide sprays, you can definitely get a ton of texture in your sprayed background as long as you build up your layers and dry them in between. And here you can see all that gorgeous, gorgeous shimmer. Now we're going to define this background a little bit more by adding some ink blending around the edges. I do this a lot. If you have a background that you're not going to add a matting layer to, I really like this to define the edges a little bit more. So I first did some tone-on-tone ink blending, going a little bit deeper into the card, so I'm not staying too close to the edge here. And I'm just adding some dark blue where the cardstock is already colored blue, some dark purple, and I'm using Concord 9th inks for this. Now this won't add too much of a dramatic effect, and in fact, if I had let this dry, it would have dried down a little bit more pale too, so it wouldn't add too much. So I stayed really close to the edge for this, but I did do some black ink blending around the edge as well, and I like to use my VersaFine Onyx Black for that. Don't forget, you can just blend with your VersaFine inks. They are perfect for stamping, but I feel like we forget about them for ink blending, but they are so true black. I love them. So yeah, I highly recommend getting them out for your ink blending as well. Now for the focal image of this card, I'm using the small die of the month, and I die cut all of the pieces, and I also layered them up on white cardstock already. So that is already done. These pieces are 2 layers thick, 1 colored cardstock, and then 1 extra die cut of white cardstock to the back of them. This does make it easier to ink blend all of these tiny pieces because they're a lot less frail. They are so much more sturdy, doubled up. And that's why I'm not using any special mat or anything. I don't really need anything to hold them in place to keep them from creasing. Just a finger on them and they'll stay in place fine. I'm using, again, Conquer the Ninth inks, and the surface I'm blending on is simply a piece of laminated white cardstock. You can't go wrong with the simple basics here. Any slick surface is perfect to ink blend on. If you have a glass mat to work on, obviously that's going to work beautifully, but if you don't, just laminate a sheet of white cardstock. I love doing it on white because I can actually see the color that is on there, and I know to be careful if there is color on my mat already. You can clean these off perfectly fine in the sink. They do tend to wear out at some point. At some point, you're not going to be able to clean the ink off as nicely anymore, but it's just a laminated sheet of white cardstock. You can just make a new one. So I love doing that. And then it's time to assemble. This is really easy to assemble. There are quite a few small pieces, so if you like, you could always use a jewel picker tool to adhere those together, and that will be so much easier as well. Especially the straw for hands and feet is a little bit tiny, but I worked around that. So I did forget to add the straw at some point. So I have some glue in awkward places that I'm trying to avoid with my fingers as I'm putting that straw into place. Just remember to adhere your straw before adhering your overalls to anything else. To make it look like the pumpkin face has a candle inside it, I am just adhering some yellow cardstock to the back of it, and before I adhere it to my Scarecrow. Now, there is actually another face option in this die set, so it can just be a fall card. It doesn't have to be a Halloween card, which I really like because you can make a ton of different Scarecrows. There are also a couple more accessories for the Scarecrow that I haven't used yet. So you can definitely design a couple of very different looking Scarecrows to make some very different looking cards. Nothing is adhered down yet, so I like to work on my background sometimes without adhering anything down to just figure out the placement of the pieces before I assemble it. I do this every single time for every single card I make, and it's my favorite part, just playing around with the layout of my card. To not have the Scarecrow floating on this sprayed background, I am using one of the Cameo frames from Spellbinders. I really like this die set, although the large frame is so ridiculously large. I think it's more for scrapbooking because it's for sure not gonna fit on a card, but they are really pretty. And I cut this one out of some black glitter cardstock, the same cardstock that I used for the bats that you'll see in a second. I'm using a mixture of foam tape and just plain old liquid adhesive to adhere everything down. Depends on what I'm adhering down and where it is on the card. So for this pumpkin, I just used some liquid adhesive, glued it straight onto the frame, and for the pumpkin that's supposed to be in front of it, I'm going to be using 2 layers of adhesive, 2 layers of foam tape, I mean. So it's definitely going to be propped up nicely. And with that, this card is pretty much finished. I'm going to adhere a sentiment on top as well. I'm going to use foam tape for that too. And this sentiment is from the All Seasons Autumn press plates. So there are a couple of All Seasons sentiment sets for the press, for the Better Press. And I really like the autumn ones. They are a lot of sentiments for gratitude cards, which I like, and just a few of the Halloween ones as well. So it's a nice mix. And I foiled this one with the same prism foil on black cardstock as well. I'm going to add some highlights with my gel pen. I ended up adding a lot more later on once this video was finished. But for now, I just stuck to the eyes, as you will see. And there are a couple of additional pieces in this die set that I used on the inside of the card. So there is a raven included in the die set and a little picket. I don't know what it's called. It's a sign, it's a direction sign, and it says "Hello Pumpkin." I love it, and I put it on the inside of the card to not have wasted the pieces. So that is my little Halloween card for today. I really love this Scarecrow, and I hope you like it too. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. I will also be going live tomorrow on Sunday the 22nd. You will see that live appear really soon on YouTube, so you can check it out. I will be making some more Halloween cards. And I would love it if you could join me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!